Welcome to the Friday Power Lunch, a weekly show amplifying the voices of the Virginia grassroots. Each week, we provide engaging conversations about politics, culture, and women making change. Produced by the unstoppable women of Network Nova, our motto is, when we vote, we win. The Friday Power Lunch is recorded before a live Zoom audience. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and show us some love and become a sponsor through Patreon. The Friday Power Lunch. Badass women getting things done.
Off the show, it is St. Patrick's Day. It is March 17th, and you are on the Friday Power Lunch. So the theme today is talk, 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 the walk, walk, walk. And I want to say something. We have in the room Gary Carter Green, wave Gary, from You Can't Beat Blue. And he and Mary RARICK have put together a great video today to show us later, but they're also helped us produce the show today. And a little twinkle, twinkle for Robin Warner to say, hey, Robin, she is doing well, so we want to give her a wave. And but she's going to let us produce the show today, so thank you for that. And I want to bring up the guest for today. If you want to help me spotlight some fabulous women, the women of TikTok. We'll start with Mary RARICK. Mary, how are you doing? Then go to HEIDI DRAGNEFF and Julie GALDO. Come on in. What are people just blowing in the room? I better let a few in while I'm talking. Let's bring up Mary.
Hello, how's it going?
Good, very good. And then also, is everybody up? I'm sorry, let's look at my speaker. There you are, Mary, Julie. I've disappeared, but I better spotlight myself. Okay, there we go. We're all in the room. So I am so excited about this segment today. How are you all doing? Are you made a TikTok yet today? Mary?
Not yet this morning. Not yet this morning, but I'll definitely be making one about this fantastic Network Nova Friday Power Lunch.
Ooh. How about you, Julie? Are you getting busy? You have your lipstick on, so I know you're ready.
Absolutely, Catherine. You know, I'm excited to be here. I'm actually sort of surprised to be here, but probably not more surprised than my grandson will be when I show him this.
I know, that's the exciting thing, this platform. And of course, Heidi's here and she is ready for the day. Look at you looking good. How are you feeling today, Heidi?
I'm good. I woke up in a good mood and I'm hoping it'll continue through the weekend.
I think so. With the luck of the Shamrock, I think we all have a great time today. So thank you. I'm really looking forward to what you guys will be talking about today. And it just couldn't be more timely with TikTok in the news, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, they can't shut us down, as we say. So let's go on and meet our next guest, which all the way from California, SANTIAGO MAYER, founder and executive director of Voters for Tomorrow. And welcome, new to the show, Santiago. Let's get him up here. Here he is.
Hi, hello.
And yeah, I love it. All the way in California. And you already told me you've been on 4 calls today.
I was driving from Starbucks while on the phone after that was my 3rd call. This is my 4th. We're going strong today.
Yeah, you've been all over the news, so I'm excited to talk to you later. But truthfully, so what's your secret? Is it coffee to keep you going? I mean, what keeps you in the game?
And a healthy amount of caffeine. That's pretty much the only answer.
Yeah. And maybe like a jog around the block once in a while, but it sounded like you did your jog in the car to get your coffee today. So, well, yeah, great. Well, I'm so grateful you're here in the room. You made it in, and that's super. So thank you, Santiago. And
absolutely.
How amazing that we can just, have people from all across the United States into the room. So exciting. And we will have Mayor Phillip Jones here, the mayor of Newport News. And but he'll be here a little later. So we'll be excited to introduce him to this great audience today. I hope you all have your green on. We know the rules of the road in the room. We love to be in the chat. Please use it. Michelle McKinney is our chat liaison. If you have any questions about the show, just go ahead and just send a little text or comment to Michelle and she'll help you, and just keep it civil in the chat. If not, the bouncer will bounce you out. Also, the after chat today, pretty special. You know, we love the after chat. It's where after 1 o'clock we get together and we talk after the show, turn everything off, and we just sort of let it out. So great. But we will have Georgia Fuller is with us today. She is going to give a personal story about her relationship with Pat Schroeder, who passed away. So we stay tuned in the after chat, because it would be great to honor also Georgia Fuller, who is a badass, who is a trailblazer herself. It's Women's History Month, so we want to make sure today we have made a special place for Georgia up in the show. So give her a wave, Georgia. You are on the Friday Power Lunch, and for good reasons. You are really an incredible champion of women's rights. So thank you for being here. And then lastly, thank you to the patrons for supporting the show. We got a new one, Betsy Gardiner. Thank you, Betsy. We love you. Thank you for all of our patrons today. You will get this fancy background when you are a patron, and we get that little donation that helps us run the show. So we really appreciate that. Okay, let's really get things kicked off with my partner in crime, Fennell Norton. Looking good. I love your glasses. I was thinking maybe I need to wear some, but I don't know.
No, that's good. That's
Okay,
good. It gives us a look.
Yeah, you know me, I just want to go like that because that's important. Anyways, so good to see you. How are you doing today?
I am doing good today. I am so fired up. I'm excited about the show for sure. And I'm excited about all the things we want to talk about. So where do you want to start?
Well, I want to start with what I just referenced before is the feminist icon, Pat Schroeder, passed away this week, 82 years old. And, you know, there's so many sometimes trailblazers, but when we lose somebody like Pat, I mean, she was somebody that she really was shaking up the institution when she came around. She was elected in 1972, and she was run an election 11 times. And she just had her own way and style. And I think we should celebrate that today. And, you know, she had to sort of deal with a lot of bullshit and crap. And she just went straight into it and really stood up for not only women, but she passed a lot of laws around families. She was the first person that passed the bill that was a family leave bill in 1993. Amazing.
Yeah, I think, you know, I say this every week and I'll continue to say it. We have so many heroes to look to for guidance in terms of how we continue to work today. So I'm glad we're celebrating her, and I'm really excited to hear Miss Georgia talk about her in the after chat today.
I know, and that's the special thing when we have people that really, in the moment of history, have a story to share when they interacted, just like when we had Margaret Morrison on and she walked over the bridge with John Lewis, the Pettus Bridge with John Lewis. People, that's why we have to talk about history, right? When we see DeSantis trying to ban, the Republican Party trying to ban history, there's a reason they don't want us to know what the hell went on, right? Like,
yeah, we have compassionate people, and when we understand and learn things that we know were not right, we want to do something about it. And that's, to your point, that's the reason that history, they don't want us to understand our history.
To talk the talk and walk the walk. And a little bit about, I know that if you all watched the Late Show, we saw the VP on, Kamala Harris, come on and talk, got a little bit of a backlash about the Willow Project. You know, I know that we have a Santiago here, Gen Z, you know, they worry about climate. There's some promises made around climate, and then they opened up some of that drilling there. And I'm interested to see what are you thinking of the backlash there'll be on around that. And, you know, that if you watched the show, who in the room watched her on the Late Show with Steve Colbert? Anybody? Yeah. Anyways, did you know?
I didn't watch it, but I think, you know, I have an interesting perspective from the fact that, you know, we tend to think about things here, right? And they have to think about things here. And I always know that we don't always get everything we want, but there's always reasons. And so I try to be very open-minded to that. And I stick with James Baldwin, which says sometimes you got to buy time to get to the ultimate goal. So yeah,
it'll be interesting because well, this is why TikTok was so important. The young folks that went on TikTok and used it. And then, of course, it felt like when Trump went to ban it because he was mad at the TikTok generation, they were out there after him, that they're using their voice. And it doesn't matter sometimes political party. And we have to be reminded of that when of course, they're worried about their future. And we definitely have to make sure that we respect that. So
also, let me just say one other thing that I think is important, which is why I'm going to love to hear from Santiago today, especially as we think about TikTok,
right?
That it saw in 2020 a growth of 180% among those aged 15 to 25. Wow. So they have a lot to say. And I think that's pretty important. And where do they say it? Where do they say it? They say it on TikTok. So
yeah, I know. And yeah, so I would love, so we have our first segment is going to be Women of TikTok. And I would love to bring up and recognize Gary Carter Green from You Can't Beat Blue, because he produced this segment with Mary RARICK. So let's spotlight Gary. Could we bring Gary up? And Gary, what is on your mind, my friend? We talk about issues or things that are important.
First thing on my mind is how happy I am to be here with all the women from the Friday Power Lunch. Hi, Miss Margaret. You're my favorite. And I want to thank Robin for trusting me to come in and do her job for her. I will do my best. Hi, Robin. I know you're watching. I can't stop thinking. I'm very focused on this Amarillo judge who's going to be making the decision about whether the FDA can continue to distribute mifepristone, and I hope I got that right. It seems like it's going to be happening. We're going to get a decision very, very soon. I'm hoping for the best. I think there's really only one right conclusion to make, and I'm pulling. Because if he votes against it and the FDA ultimately pulls that, right. We got a lot of fighting to do. And I don't know about you, but I've always got a little bit more fight in me, but I'd like to hold on to it for 2024. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope that this judge, there are a lot of reasons to think he's not going to make the decision that we want, but you never know. You never know. I'm going to say to you that I am prepared that he will definitely make the decision to overturn this, because what I want to bring into this lens is that we have to understand this is all connected. The Supreme Court, the people, the money that got for the last 70 years have worked to undo what we've built for civil rights and the civil rights movement and for all the liberties and women's rights. I didn't believe they would overthrow Roe, but they're all working together in my mind. So I think we should be prepared for it. And then it's always like, what do we have in our sock? What are we going to come at next? So I know what you said, and I loved it. You're like, who in the hell's making laws about women's bodies? Like, you just said it. And I can't think of a law where they're controlling men's bodies, right? No, I mean, as a gay man, certain people are trying to prevent certain things from happening between men. But, it all ties in together. I mean, we are being demonized. That's, gay men, women, minorities. We're just being hung from a tree like a piñata, and they're just going to be beating on us continually. And let's be honest, until 2024, until the election is over, this is going to continue. It's like whack-a-mole. You knock one down and it's going to come up someplace else. So we have to be prepared for everything that's going to happen. Well, I saw CVS, Deanna Bears just put in there that CVS like Walgreens, have made a decision not to sell it in certain states. So it's just sort of like, we do need the corporations to stand up, because they'll be, before long, that will be them, and they don't realize it. They come for you eventually. So Gary, with that said, I'm going to give you a minute to get yourself queued up for the next segment, because we're going to do the Women Who TikTok, and we want to make sure that we show this wonderful production so you can get your screen ready. And Fennell, I know you're excited about this segment.
Yeah, I really am excited about this segment. When we talk to these guys, and the ones that you see on the screen, you'll be able to note that they have more than 12 million followers among them, and millions and millions and millions of touches. And when I think about all the issues that are going on, it just reminds me of the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
All right. So Gary, are you ready? Going to share that screen? Let's watch it.
Politics is really taken off on TikTok.
We can't afford to have anyone, certainly on our side of the aisle,
taking anything for granted.
This honesty that you might not have in a face-to-face interaction.
Really what I think my secret is, speak to something in a way that someone who does not exist in the political world would be able to easily intake that information and then let them know how that affects their life.
Why did you decide to start creating content on TikTok?
My daughter was on TikTok. I started it by following her. I found that the posts that I did specifically about Florida got a lot of traction. So I kind of gave a voice to the rest of Floridians who are liberal or progressive.
My simple mission is that I just want Democratic and or left-leaning voters to take action in some way, shape, or form.
There's a lot of women who are there. There are people there for all kinds of different reasons, but politics has really taken off on TikTok.
What's something you wish you would have known earlier?
The trolls online, and they will try to bait you and say, oh, you just want to be in an echo chamber. You don't want other voices. And I was like, no, I don't want other negative voices. No, I don't. You're right. This is my safe space and you're not welcome here.
Who's your target audience?
Well, apparently it is white women who are 35 to 42 years old. That's what my analytics say.
My favorite viewers are the people on the right that come to me and we totally and completely disagree, but it's in a respectful manner that allows me to learn from the other individuals.
I found myself in political TikTok, and you get into a groove and you meet a bunch of really cool people. And so it kind of took off from there.
What inspires you to record a TikTok?
Waking up in the morning and seeing what the Missouri GOP has done to my state.
Some shit that the Republicans are doing,
Why is it important for you to be on TikTok?
My son asks me that all the time.
Every day, there's never a shortage of news in Florida of something that is shocking and surprising and that needs to be stopped.
I think our democracy is really feeling quite fragile these days.
It's important that I use it to share a positive, impactful message.
To introduce people to things they didn't know existed, like the unicorn, the rural progressive, right? We're here. There are people like me out here. I had to find my own, and now I'm helping other people find their voice as well.
So I am so excited for this segment. So Mary and Heidi and Julie, welcome. Thank you so much. Mary, I'm going to start with you because you did the interviews and they were fantastic. And so before I get to them, because I want you to talk a little bit about those interviews, tell us why you're on TikTok.
Well, I'm on TikTok because a good friend of mine, that would be you, dragged me over there last April. And I didn't want to go because I felt like there were enough, middle-aged white women yammering their mouths off about everything. And I just felt like that wasn't my place. But you pointed out that not everybody hears everything from a certain person, and that we all need to be in all the places because the messenger is just as important as the message.
And I think something else that folks will find very interesting, you asked Jess who were her followers, who were the people who followed her the most. Tell us who follows you the most.
Well, I thought my target audience was going to be white women, suburban white women. But it turns out that my followers are middle-aged Black women, and they cheer me on, they call me out, they're my biggest supporters, and it's just such a blessing. I learned something absolutely every single day on TikTok.
And so what I wanted to share, because I think is really interesting, I am going to share your stats because I think during the time frame that you've been doing it, this is what's important. You have more than 15,000 followers and 363,000, I call them touches. And so when I think about this group, Heidi and Julie, and I have to mention Hal, who he's not a woman who TikTok, but Hal, who we all sort of came on at the same time. And Hal, who I would encourage people to also look at, 11,000 followers, 98,000 likes. So when you think about all of the ways to touch people, think about the amount of time and space that we've had to do that and how many people are being touched. And so everybody has a different message. So let me talk to Julie for a minute, because Julie, you're the happy grandma. So let's talk about, I'm sure you were surprised at the number of touches you got and the number of followers you got, and your grandson has something to say too. So talk to us a little bit about you.
So Final, you're not asking the key question, which is why did I start TikTok? It's kind of like Mary, because you asked me to. You encouraged me. And, you know, I've always been interested in politics and been very vocal, but to be truthful, I kind of muted it around people I didn't know and know well. And I thought it's about time that I grow up and speak publicly to everyone about what I believe deeply. You know, I think we're in a tough time right now, and we're in battle. I kind of hate to say that, but I feel like we're in a kind of a war, and it's time that people stand up. So that's why I'm doing it. And I am the new kid on the block, though. My stats aren't anything like Mary's or yours or Heidi's or Hal's, but I'm learning and I'm loving it.
So you're being modest because you went away for a while, but you would often have, when you did a TikTok, more than 2,500 people who I call touch, who were listening to what you had to say. And we'll come back and talk about the way that everybody has a different way of talking. And we saw Jess and we saw Tokyo, who gave us lessons. But one of the reasons we got started here, and there's some other folks I haven't mentioned, is because we were doing letters to the editor, which is fantastic, but we were having a really difficult time getting there. And then when I found out that there was more than 138 million active users on TikTok, and more than 20% of them were over 50, we said, we cannot let this go undone. We have to be in every single space. We'll talk about China in a minute, but at the end of the day, we can't give up space. So Heidi, I want to talk to you because you're the badass of TikTok. So I hear people say, oh, I want to talk to people and I want to just, you know, talk to them and communicate. But you're the badass of this group. So let's talk a little bit about why you TikTok, and talk to us about how you respond, because you get trolls, a lot of trolls, because you're very, very provocative, I think, and in a really good way.
It's just being real. So I got started during the pandemic. I think a lot of us hopped on TikTok at that time. And at first I was just a watcher, a lurker, and I discovered this political side of TikTok. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And I decided that I'm no different than anybody else. I'm no better or worse than anyone else that is on this app. So why can't I also use my voice to reach other people like me? We need to persuade the most is the white suburban women, I believe. And what better way than to use my own experience to reach out to people just like me?
I think that's pretty amazing. And what I would say is, I remember one of the things that Tokyo, when she taught us, is she does Fridays, and she does Good News Fridays. And she also does education. And I think she gets like millions when she does simple education about civics, because we all think we know. But when I said everything, everywhere, all at once, that's sort of how it feels. Like today, I found out that in Texas, the governor dismissed 9 Democratic members of the school board. I didn't know that. So you can find out all kinds of things. Mary, I want you to talk a little bit about engagement, because I think on average, the users go there 19 times a week. Is that right?
It's insane. There's more engagement and better engagement on TikTok than any other platform that I've seen. It's kind of like what Twitter used to be. And I mean, Twitter's just a little dead right now, it feels like. And Instagram doesn't feel the same. But the community, you'll find, you get on TikTok. If you're not on TikTok, get on TikTok. And even just start by observing. But the algorithm will figure out what kind of people you like and interact with their content. Boost, follow and boost all of these creators that we've highlighted. follow their contact, interact with it, ask questions, and then the algorithm will serve you up more people like that, and you can interact with them and you will learn so much, but you've got to interact with the content.
Yeah, and not only that, because this is one of the important things, it gives you the opportunity to be able to figure out how to have conversations, how to know what kinds of things to talk about. And let me just get the big elephant out of the room in terms of China. I think if you want to think about something, think about Facebook and think about Cambridge Analytica and think about Alexa, think about all the other things we do. And so I think, if you don't want to have it on government basis, that's fine. We'll see what happens with TikTok. We'll see what happens. But until it happens, you can go TikTok. And I'll also say for folks who are not on TikTok, you can still share the information. You can still look at the TikToks without having to actually set up an account. So there's no reason not to take a look and share content. Julie, when you're on TikTok, you're the happy grandma, and you have this really calm way that you like to talk about things. Can you just share when you're on TikTok what you're thinking about and what audiences you really want to connect with?
Yeah, Final, I think one of the first things I think about is what is really most authentically at my core that I have to say about an issue, to be real and to try to really think it through and be clear about the points. One of the other key things for me is to speak in a way that people can hear. Sometimes I want to say, and that's just my way, Heidi, I love what you do, by the way. And when you really stand out there and you're tough, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, but that's not me, at least not outside. And what I want to do is influence people that might be able to hear. And I think what I'm doing is trying to show that a woman in her gray-haired years some people will listen to because we're like you, or we're like your mother or your aunts or your grandma or your best friend next door. And maybe you'll open up your heart a little bit if I speak honestly, truthfully, and respectfully. That's what I'm trying to do.
I love that. Heidi, tell me about the TikTok that you did that you got the most responses for, that you were most surprised about.
Well, I can talk about one I did recently that has gotten a lot of views. It was a response video to a bill that was put into one of the red states, I don't remember off the top of my head, where they're banning abortion, of course, and they refer to girls 12 and older as women, and the exception for rape and incest is only for children 10, 12 and under. And so I just felt like we talk about these issues all day long, but if you put a face to it and a real life person to it, it reaches so many more people. So I put a picture of my 10-year-old daughter just being goofy. Like, this is the real person you're talking about here doing this to. Do you think this goofy little kid deserves to become a mother because of your twisted views that you want to enforce on her? You want to destroy her life, her body? Because a 10-year-old carrying a child is not going to be very well received within her own body.
Yeah, that would be one of the times I'd say, what would Jesus do? But that's just me. Let me ask you this, Mary. Tell me one for you that was really, you were surprised at the impact that it had based on the responses.
There's so many, the ones that you think are really well thought out, really well researched, very clever, all that. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. But I have to agree with Julie. The ones where you really speak from your heart, and what Heidi just said, the ones where you feel something really strongly, those resonate. The ones where I admit that I did something wrong and give people permission to admit that they can do something wrong and make better choices, those always do well. And I feel like that's part of my calling. So I have apologized to Black women numerous times because as I learn new things, I realize I hurt people. It's, you know, the microaggressions, the small things, or I may hurt people. Some people may be hurt by it, others may not. But just acknowledging that and admitting I may have hurt some. If I said that and that hurt you, I'm sorry. Calling Black women strong is a good example. That one just resonated. People came into my DMs and were talking to me and thanking me for admitting that, because some people feel that very much, and other people feel like strong is something they aspire to be, you know. But those, I think the admission when I make mistakes, those seem to be the ones that really surprise me, because I just think I'm just going to put this out here and see what happens.
So one of the things that I'll say is that you can share TikToks to Facebook. So people who use Facebook, that's fantastic. Facebook stories is also good if you're not going to be on TikTok. But what I want to say to folks is you're missing a wealth of information. You're missing a wealth of authentic lessons. You're missing a wealth of messengers if you're not at least as a browser paying attention to TikTok and all of the really great things that are happening and the things that people are saying. And I would add one final point, and that is during the January 6th hearings, it was in the news that people got their news from TikTok, and it was a positive influence for the January 6th hearing. So when it comes to January 22 elections, I think we all can take a bow and feel like just as those people who are writing postcards and knocking on doors and making phone calls, that this is as effective too. It is all of those things together. It is everything, everywhere, all at once.
I want to watch that movie. Did it win an award?
It won everything.
Everywhere it won.
Michelle Yeoh, the first Asian woman to win an Oscar. So it is everything, everywhere, all at once.
No, I love this group of TikTokers. And I don't know, Mary, do you see any of the other friends of TikTok in the room today that you'd like to acknowledge and maybe call up for a second?
You know, I thought maybe I saw someone earlier. Maybe if you were in one of the interviewees and you want to raise your hand.
Yeah, raise your hand. Yeah, that's a good idea. That way we can name right away.
Boho Hippie, are you in the room?
Boho Hippie.
Yeah, you know, if anybody who I interviewed, if you're in the room,
your hand up and the reaction, and you'll float to the top. But I do want to say that, you know, I did call my Senator Warner yesterday, and I talked to the point of view about the TikTok thing. And we all get it off the state computer phones and all that. And like you said, Fennell, about Facebook, Google, these other things where they don't seem to be able to make laws about protect our personal data in general in the United States on these private corporations. But I did say to the senator's office, I said, the thing that we do know is the former president has a platform. Platforms were used to coordinate and attack our government. All these channels were used, and you're not doing anything about those channels really, right? It's interesting to me that they are focused on TikTok, and maybe there's something we don't know, and we'll all become robots and just do weird stuff someday. I don't know. But I have to say that I think the challenge is for us is that, like you said, this is where we're hearing voices of especially people that are progressive. And really, this is where we find out a lot of great information. So let's hope that they figure this out, that your voices are so important.
Yeah, and if I could just add one thing, the folks that were featured and the folks who were here, I know that all of their information is in the chat. Go there. It is phenomenal. It is fascinating. It is fantastic content.
Lori's in the room, by the way.
Oh.
There's Boho. Yeah.
Lori.
Hello.
Hi.
Do you want to unmute? Could we make her a co-host and have her say hi? Lori, hello.
Hear me?
Yes.
So this is Boho Hippie. And Boho Hippie loves to have conversations back. And so, Catherine, I'm going to give it to you because I know that you have the next segment. So,
well, I want to hear from Boho Hippie. How'd you get that name, Boho Hippie?
So I came from a toxic and abusive relationship. So when I came onto TikTok, before politics really took a nosedive, I started as a way of processing my healing on there. And then TikTok thrusted me into the political world, and I am now Boho. They like to refer to me as Bo or Boho.
I love it. No, it's powerful. Go ahead, Fennell.
I was just going to say, so Boho Hippie, who just happened to jump into this, has 22,000 followers, 644,000 touches. So the way that she speaks to people truly resonates. And so I listened to your content this morning, waved at you, hi, this morning. And so I'm thrilled to be friends with you on TikTok. And I can't wait to continue listening to the fascinating and wonderful ways that you share information and content.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So you're probably wondering about this ban too. What's your point of view on what you're hearing about it?
On the ban. So, I have seen a ton of, security individuals within my own feed that, they say TikTok has better security than Meta. TikTok has better security than any of the other social platforms that we have here. This isn't about, stopping us from losing security. And I mean, furthermore, my gosh, they have a lot of information anyway. So let's just pretend that that's not happening.
Exactly.
Community that they didn't expect to form within TikTok, and the resistance that I think is forming as a result of that.
Yes, I love it. Thank you, Lori, for that. Well, we're going to round up this segment. I'm so, like I said, tune in. And we had a candidate running for office that got popular on TikTok. So there is a lot of wonderful things around communication that is so important. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Julie. The happy grandma and the best red lipstick ever. So let's stay with me. Fennell went away. Okay. So anyways, next up, I just want to have us focus their segment on what we're doing, walking the walk ourselves here is the Women's Summit. And we are doing that. And if you're new to the room, we are a grassroots group called Network Nova. We produce the Friday Power Lunch. We also produce a annual event called the Women's Summit, open to everybody, all genders, but it is organized by the Unstoppable Women of Network Nova. The date is going to be July 22nd and 23rd, going to be incredible panels and speakers. And we're really going to focus on the freedoms that really are under attack now. So we hope that you'll sign up. We'll put that all in the chat. We still have what we call the early bird. You don't want to miss the early bird. Who does? The early bird gets the worm. Yes, thank you. And look at this t-shirt we have. Awesome. When we vote, we win t-shirt. We're doing a great color this year. And we took a long time with this color and a long time with the design. So we're really excited. We hope you get your t-shirt, get plenty of them. So when you go buy your ticket, you're going to also see ways to get higher up tickets that are more than the early bird, because you'll be giving money to scholarship. And we can make sure that we don't say that we won't turn anybody away. And so just pay attention when you click on maybe higher amounts to come to the summit. There's ways to do the scholarship. And some of those come with a free t-shirt, especially when you come in at $500. Of course, we're going to give you a free t-shirt, but you'll probably buy a few more. So I just want to show you this fabulous t-shirt. We hope you get that. And also make sure that you help us spread the word about the Women's Summit. We are going to be working with Ann Holton and groups like We the People, because we're going to really bring Virginia, everybody's watching Virginia, and we're going to fight like hell to make sure that we flip Virginia blue coming up into 2024 as well. All right. That's my little pitch about the Women's Summit. Why not? Hey, let's do a toast. One toast. Everybody got their shot ready. St. Patty's Day. Here's looking at you. A little luck in the room, and a great weekend to everybody. So I'm very excited. There we go. Very excited. And I'm sure he's waiting for his turn to introduce Santiago Mayer, founder and executive director of Voters for Tomorrow. And I want to say, how are you doing in the room with us? Is your generation keeping up with us? Are we a little too slow, fast? We're good? No,
all good. I'm loving the energy here.
I love it. Well, we love you, and I've been watching. You've been everywhere, and I would want you to share your story. And Voters for Tomorrow, I just even love the title, and we better be really paying attention to these voters, because you really changed the election in 2020, and we really need you in Virginia. I want to first introduce the audience to you and your personal story, and then we'll go into how you founded this organization and why.
Definitely, yeah. So, hi everyone. My name is SANTIAGO Mayer. I am the founder and executive director of Voters of Tomorrow. I am originally from Mexico City. I was born and raised in Mexico City. I moved to the United States in 2017 in the middle of the Trump administration. And as a kid growing up in Mexico, I was always very interested in international politics, the way that countries related to each other, international relationships. And yes, I was an MUN kid because of course I was. Once I moved to the United States, it was during the Muslim ban, and it obviously was having very significant effects in the way that the world interacted with the United States. I was trying to talk about it with people in my classes, with my friends, with my peers, and the thing that I realized really quickly is that many people just didn't have the tools or even the knowledge to actually talk about what was happening in politics. I needed to get my opinions out somehow, so I started tweeting them out. And for one reason or another, I built a platform. And as we were heading into 2020, in 2019, while the primary was heating up, I really saw an opportunity to use the platform that I had built to solve the problem that helped me build it in the first place. And I decided to start Voters of Tomorrow and to make sure that young people were educated, engaged, and represented in politics. Sometimes we'll do educate, engage, and represent. Sometimes we'll do 3 E's, and it'll be educate, engage, and empower. But the bottom line is to make sure that young people are in all the rooms where decisions are being made, are aware of what is happening across the country, and have the tools to be active participants in democracy. So that's kind of a very brief
in the nutshell. I'm just impressed.
Story.
I mean, what did you feel like coming into this country under that banner of with the Trump administration and what we knew at the time? And you're very brave. So how did you find your way once you got here? And was it school and then you started this platform? And
yeah, so listen, I think when people imagine immigrants, everyone has like an immigrant sob story, right? And I've been very lucky through my life to have very few struggles in the way that most people imagine sort of the immigrant sob story. So I wanted to make sure that I was speaking for people who couldn't actually speak up. And I wanted to make sure that especially the undocumented community,
the DACA community,
they have very real reasons to not speak up. I mean, especially with a president like Trump, there are very real concerns as to why you might want to just stay quiet, kind of stay in the shadows, not really say anything. And I really felt sort of an obligation to help elevate their voices and make sure that immigrants at large had an opportunity to be part of the conversation. And listen, my parents were not fans of all of this, especially we're in the process of getting our green card, and there were some real concerns that with the Trump administration, like if I pissed off the wrong person, they might just block it. But thankfully, we got our green cards just a few months after Joe Biden was elected.
Oh, that's awesome.
We have been making sure that not only immigrants, but the young people specifically from all backgrounds are able to be in the rooms where decisions are being made and are active participants in democracy.
I love that. And so when you talk about the DACA generation of those kids, you also, when they're not kids now, I mean, a lot of them have obviously entered their 30s now, but being doctors and nurses and different kind of roles, how are they integrated into your platform now? Like, how do you tell us more about now what Voters of Tomorrow does? And like you talk about the different chapters in every state. How are you engaging this demographic? And then do you meet up? Is it all online? I mean, tell us a little bit more about that part of it.
Yeah, listen, I'm actually super excited about this because as of January, we now finally have staff. We had been doing this on a volunteer basis for almost 3 years, but now all of us are a good portion of our national team is actually on payroll. We are turning this into a real job and career. I'm graduating in May and heading to DC, and we're hopefully going to be able to do this from an actual office in a very real physical way. But for now, we're still all online. We have chapters in 26 states plus DC, and really the core of our organization is being led by young people. All of our conversations are had between young people. And it really comes down to a deeply held belief that young people are the best equipped to convince other young people to get engaged. And I always use an example. In 2022 for the midterms, we ran what we're still running the numbers, but we believe is the largest ever youth mobilization program led entirely by young people. We contacted 8.4 million voters and made sure that they were registered to vote, that they had their polling place memorized, knew where they had to go, or that they were requesting a mail-in ballot. And while we were doing this, the week before the election, we decided to go to DC so that we could all be together and and respond rapidly to anything that was happening. So we had our little boiler room. And all of us were sending out messages, talking on the phone, and our deputy communications director, Grace, was responding to questions that we had received from our messages. And we had sent out messages asking just people whether they knew where their polling place was. And someone had replied, yes, it's in your mom's house. I know from previous experience working campaigns that most campaign managers, if I had come to that as a volunteer and asked them like, hey, what do I respond to this? They would have told us to just ignore it.
Right.
But we're Gen Z, we're different, we're fun, we're young. We decided to engage, and Grace replied, oh, that's so great. Please make sure you take my mom voting with you. This guy replied all caps, oh my God, ha 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 ha, I love you. I am going voting only because of you. Whoa. And now that we have the data, we were able to confirm they voted.
That is awesome.
Which I think really kind of underscores the fact that when you have young people having these conversations, you get good results. So yeah, that's a big part. Distributed organizing, we did phone banks, text banks. We have a very big focus on relational organizing, making sure that we all have insane networks of people, making sure we're activating all of them.
You were the perfect relational organizing people for this app. What do you use? Do you have a particular like voter outreach? What is your thing that you guys now use to do that relation? I'm just now I'm an activist. Now I'm like, what do you use? Like, tell me.
I believe we're in a platform called Impactive.
Impactive. Okay, we're going to talk about that probably because you're coming into Virginia, you're coming into DC. We have an election. We need to connect for the Women's Summit. We need to make sure that we have you present. So we need to talk about that side talk, as we say, because you'll be in DC in May, our event's in July, and we're going to build power together because our election in Virginia is the place to just really to make sure that we really win big here, because that win will get us the presidential or the next year all the way up to the governorship, because we know what happened in Virginia before when we did sort of lose some of our gains. It also spread out throughout the country, some of that propaganda from that loss. So when we win and we bring back our state into this winning thing with your help and everybody working together, I think it just will set the stage and the roadway where we're going to go forward. So we appreciate you being here today. I'm so
Absolutely.
excited. Yeah.
No, and I would love to connect you with our Virginia chapter lead, Elisha Lee, who some of you might know if you're active in Virginia. 15-year-old badass. Love him to that.
Love it. Yes, let's connect. Okay, Santiago, Mayor, let's give him a round of applause in the room. How awesome, a young organizer. And then we're excited for the next segment. So if you could stick with us past one, please do. But I know you've been busy, so that's okay also. But nice to meet you, and we'll be in contact. So thank you. So next,
thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. It's exciting. Fennell is going to do the next segment. Let's spotlight Fennell, and we're so excited that she's going to be talking to Mayor Phillip Jones, the mayor of Newport News. And let's go ahead and spotlight. I see him in the room. We're so excited he's here.
Yes, we are so excited. Mayor Jones, how are you? I'm so excited to see you today.
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
So I just want to let everybody know this is Mayor Phillip Jones. He is one of the youngest mayors in the entire country. And we are so happy to have him in Newport News. And I just like to start with, Mayor, and I know folks know a little bit about your background, but I know that you are a graduate from the Naval Academy. You also went to graduate school at Harvard, and then you decided to jump into politics. So can we just have a quick minute on how you got here?
Of course. Well, I'm the son of two Air Force pilots, and so we moved around the world, but we really settled in Hampton Roads in Newport News and Hampton when I was in middle school. And when I was at graduate school, the plan was always to come back. I think COVID accelerated that, but I always tell everyone, Newport News is a great place to live and to raise your family. We have all the pieces that we need to be one of the best cities in Virginia. We just got to figure out a way to put those pieces together. And so I was excited to jump into the race, and I'm glad it all worked out.
It did work out. And so this is Women's History Month. And so I would love to know how women influence who you are and what your priorities are for Newport News.
Of course. Well, I think that's an easy one. I think I'm influenced most by my mother, who was one of the first Black women navigators in the Air Force, as well as my grandma and my granddie. They are sort of the matriarchs of the family, and they always told me that education will be the panacea. Education is the thing that will change your life. And so I want that for all children in Newport News. When you look at the vision of Newport News, I tell everyone, it's not just me, not just the mayor, it's also city council, the manager, the staff. We have such amazing employees for the city. But my goal is in the next 4 years, I want Newport News to be an all-American city. So an all-American city is voted annually by the Civic League. It's the top 10 cities in America. And I use all-American as a sort of moniker because in my mind, all-American schools have the best education system where we pay our teachers what they're worth. We have a police force that practices community policing, that's engaged in the community. We have a place that leverages our private sector and our public sector, and all of those things coming together ensure that we have an all-American city. So that's the goal in the next 4 years. I'm really excited to sort of revamp our strategic plan, add some innovation to Newport News, and I'm looking forward to leading from the front.
So I have two more questions. So the first one is Gen Z. So how do we continue to engage Gen Z in a really big way in Virginia?
Of course. So I'm 33. I think right now I'm the youngest mayor in Virginia. And I think with that is the ability to speak to all groups of individuals. So I'm often in the middle schools, the high schools, talking to opportunity youth, different types of youth across the state. I think at the end of the day, representation is everything. And they have to see someone that looks like them, someone that can be a bridge builder. And so I think in the role of mayor, you can be many things. You can be commander-in-chief, comforter-in-chief. I tell everyone, my goal is to sit at the nexus, at the intersection of all different interests, but to make sure that I build a bridge for those who come behind me, because so many people helped me get to where I'm at. They built the bridge. We had former Mayor Jesse Rattley, Mayor Joe Frank, a lot of great and stalwart individuals in the city, and I'm just doing my part following up behind them.
And so my final question to you, this has been amazing. I saw you first when you were shaking hands with President Joe Biden when he had all of the mayors. So I want to know what that felt like. And I want to know if there were any mayors there that you sort of met and you thought, oh my God, this is really another great role model.
No, I think it's always good talking to the president. He invited us up a few weeks after we won the election, and that was great to just to sit in the Oval Office and talk to him and really get some mentorship. I think when you look at the mayors that I'm trying to model, obviously Mayor McKinley Price, who was the mayor before me in Newport News, has always been a role model. And I think of the current mayors, Mayor Kenny Alexander in Norfolk, I think he's done a good job of sort of sitting in the middle of building bridges to a lot of different communities. But they are sort of the venerated statesmen, and I'm looking forward to taking up the mantle after them.
This has been fantastic. I hope that you will come back and see us. And you have to say hello to Phyllis, because I know that behind every mayor, there is a Phyllis who keeps everything going. So thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to part with?
No, I would say Phyllis is amazing. She told me to put on a green shirt for today. But I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me today. Thank you all for what you do. Grassroots, at the end of the day, that is a sort of prereq to democracy. And without you, there's no mayors or councils or General Assembly. And I know in Virginia, there's an election every year. I know people get tired, but you are the heart and soul, and we really do appreciate you.
Thank you, Mayor Jones. We appreciate you too.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, it was great to finally get to meet him, right? Thank you, Mayor. And I want
to fangirl. I'm the fangirl for the mayor.
I know we're going to get.
Awesome.
We're still working on Governor Newsom. I know that's another person that we want to get in the room. How about that? So I wanted to ask you real quick before we wrap up, and I'm excited that everybody stay in the room, because Georgia Fuller, who is just a badass feminist and just a history since the 70s fighting for the Equal Rights Amendment, is going to tell her personal story about Pat Schroeder. So please stay for the after chat. But let's talk about walking the walk. We did a lot of talking. You are really in charge and really been heading up a postcard initiative, and you really want to talk about the banning of Black history. Can you tell us about that initiative? And I don't know if we can show, if Steri can show the postcard. Go ahead. Good job. Thank you, Steri.
Yeah, sure. I can do it in less than 30 seconds. So this is an initiative really about getting on the offense. And so we have for public education, a whole bunch of groups that are really working hard on talking about what's happening with banned books and TRT in schools and all of these things. And so this is an effort to start getting on the offense. And so it's a really simple card with a really simple message. And folks can order this postcard right now and start sending them all out in Virginia Beach so that we can let people know what is happening, so we can start to prepare our voters for what's happening in our.
You want to read it since some people listen?
Sure. In 1831, a Virginia law made it illegal for enslaved and free Black people to read or write. Today, MAGA Republicans want to eliminate the telling of Black history. Black history is American history. And then the back of the card will have some scripting that folks can use that tie this message together. And so please get these postcards. We want to get out 20,000 of them to Virginia Beach, because they need us.
They need us. I love this initiative, and I love that it came from the energy in this room and this group, and the way that when we get together and we talk, and then we walk the walk. So thank you for that, Fennell, and thank you for just a great show today. And we're going to wrap things up. I want to say thank you to our guests today, the women of TicTok. That was just so amazing. Mary RARICK, Julie GALDO, HEIDI DRAGNEFF, and of course, Fennell is a very big presence on TicTok, and just inspired people to also get in the room. And Santiago Mayer, Voter to Tomorrow. Thank you, Santiago. Thank you. And then lastly, the mayor. So great to meet the mayor of Newport News, Mayor Phillip Jones. Yes, Phil and Fennell, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll just say big thank you to Mary and Gary. We love it. The video was fantastic, and we appreciate everyone for the show today.
Yeah, that is awesome. I want to tell people we're going to do the wrap up, but I also want to remind people to get your ticket for the Women's Summit. Please do get in the room. And then next Friday, we have a great show. And I think in Virginia, it's going to be something that we all will want to hear about. We're going to have an author who's going to write, Margaret Eads, who wrote What the Eyes Can't See, Ralph Northam, Black Resolve and a Racial Reckoning in Virginia. And we'll also have Pastor Michelle that was be talking about, also, she's been president involved in the NAACP, but she's also a candidate running for office. But we're going to have her on the show because she was intimately involved in the story with Ralph Northam, our former governor. And this book it's going to be, you got to show up. This is going to be a great show next week. I'm very excited. And how about you? You're excited about that show?
I can't wait. You know, I love the books and I love getting a chance to talk to the authors, and this is going to be fantastic.
And I know Robin's listening. She's like saying, Catherine, don't forget about, we're going to have on the Anti-Defamation League on, because it'll be a show trying to counter all the hate. We'll have on Meredith Weasel. And we're so excited to have them in the room because the statistics we're going to learn about, the rise in hate, rise in anti-Semitism, the attack on Black history, the attack on LGBTQ, and the attack on women are all connected. Okay? So that's my little speech for today. They're all connected. So let's make sure that we do the talking and the walking to
and get some postcards.
And do some postcards. Okay. So thank you to everybody in the room. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you to our patrons, especially to Betsy Gardner for being our newest. And we're so excited to say also hello, a special hello to Robin Warner, our show wizard. Gary Green Garter, don't beat blue. You can't beat blue. Thank you for helping us today. Stair Calhoun, Ambassador Buzz, Heidi Dragneff, social media diva, Dennis Orsinger. Thank you. Definitely, Dennis, for just making our graphics so beautiful. Michelle McKinney, chat liaison, Laura Martinez, our Zoom helpers, and content concierge extraordinaires, Julie Galdo, Alfina McCall, and Sally Reynolds. All right, we will see you on the other side of the after chat. Let's talk the talk. Let's go.